The hall was quiet now. The music had stopped. The alien drums, the strange glowing lights, the laughter of the guests, all of it had faded into the night. Only one thing remained: the human soldier and his alien bride. He had never thought life would bring him here. He was a man from Earth, once just another face in the army, sent to fight a war on a distant planet. But now, after battles, blood, and uneasy peace, he stood married to a woman unlike anyone he had ever known. She was beautiful, too beautiful, almost dangerous to look at. Her skin glowed faintly in the dark, a soft silver light that made her look unreal. Her long hair, darker than night, fell around her shoulders like silk. Her golden eyes shone with something between love and mystery. She was his wife now, his alien bride. The soldiers back at camp would never believe it. The room they entered was carved out of crystal stone, lit by slow-burning alien candles that gave off a faint blue flame. The bed was wide, covered in layers of woven fabric that shimmered like starlight. Everything about the room felt alive, as if it was watching them. He followed her steps nervously, his boots making soft echoes. She turned to him and smiled, placing her delicate hand on his chest. "You are mine now," she whispered, her voice carrying an accent that curled around his heart. He tried to smile back, though inside he was shaking. This wasn't just a wedding, it was a leap into a new world, a bond with a culture he barely understood. She leaned in close, and for a while, the night felt like it belonged only to them. But then, a sound. It was soft at first, barely there, like the brushing of fabric against stone. He ignored it, thinking maybe it was just the house shifting or the candles flickering. But then he heard it again, clearer this time. A footstep. Light, careful, almost playful. He froze. The bride's eyes flicked toward the corner of the room, but she quickly looked back at him as if nothing had happened. Too quickly, too deliberate. His heartbeat sped up. "Did you hear that?" he asked in a low voice. She shook her head, smiling gently, almost too gently. "It is nothing. Just the house settling." But he wasn't convinced. His training in the army had taught him when someone was hiding the truth. And right now, his new wife was hiding something. They lay on the bed, the alien fabrics cool against his skin. But the sound came again. This time it was closer. A soft laugh, almost like a whisper, floated through the air. He sat up quickly, eyes scanning the shadows. The bride caught his arm, her grip surprisingly strong. "Do not worry," she said. Her voice was calm, but her golden eyes betrayed a flicker of fear. Fear. That was what made his blood run cold. If his bride was afraid, then what else was in the room with them? The silence stretched long, heavy. He thought maybe he was imagining things, maybe it was just the stress of the day. But then, the covers at the end of the bed shifted. Just a little. Just enough to see. Someone or something was crawling under them. His heart slammed against his ribs. He yanked back the sheets, expecting an intruder, a beast, anything. But what he saw left him speechless. A face, not his bride's face, but one that looked like hers, similar, yet different. Softer features, younger perhaps, with curious silver eyes staring right at him. An alien girl, beautiful like his bride, but not the same. Before he could react, another movement caught his attention. To his left, the sheets lifted again, and another girl's face appeared. This one older, her smile sly, her golden eyes glowing. In the dim light, his breath caught. Two of them. The bride lowered her gaze, not meeting his eyes. "Do not be afraid," she whispered. "They are my sisters." Sisters. The word echoed in his mind. Sisters crawling into his bed, smiling as if this was the most normal thing in the world. He tried to speak, but the words caught in his throat. What are they doing here?" The younger one tilted her head, her voice soft and playful. "It is our way. We share everything, even this." The older one chuckled, her tone sharper, more teasing. Did you think you married only one of us human? The room suddenly felt smaller, the walls closing in. 3 pairs of glowing eyes on him now, 3 shadows pressing closer. His body tensed, his instincts screaming danger. But another part of him, a part he didn't want to admit, was frozen by their beauty. He looked back at his bride, desperate for answers. She finally met his gaze, her golden eyes filled with conflict. "This is our custom," she said softly. "I could not tell you before, but tonight, you will know the truth." The bed dipped as the sisters moved closer, their hands brushing against him, their whispers filling the room. He tried to move, but he couldn't. He didn't know if it was fear holding him down or something else. The night that was supposed to be simple, a beginning of love, had turned into something far darker and stranger. And as the candles flickered, he realized he had walked into a secret far older than he could imagine, a wedding night, with more than just one bride. Asterisk the soldier lay frozen, his eyes wide in the dim glow of the alien candles. The room smelled of sweet flowers, heavy and strange, but the sweetness felt poison now. He had thought this night would be simple, his first night with his alien bride. Instead, 2 more figures had joined the bed, the sisters. They slid closer, moving like shadows that had learned how to breathe. Their glowing eyes never looked away from him. Each step, each brush of the fabric, filled the room with tension. The younger sister smiled first. Her voice was soft, almost innocent. "Don't be afraid, human," she whispered. "We mean no harm." No harm? His pulse thundered in his ears. No harm didn't explain why they crawled under the covers like hunters stalking prey. The older sister leaned closer, her golden eyes sharp with a different kind of hunger. "On our world," she said, "marriage is not 1-to-1. It is 1 to us." She let the words hang, her smile widening as though daring him to deny her. His bride sat beside him, silent. Her head was bowed, her hands folded in her lap, as if she could vanish if she stayed still enough. That silence was louder than all the whispers. He wanted to shout at her, demand answers, but he couldn't, not with the sisters watching. They were too close, too confident. The younger sister crawled up to the head of the bed. Her hair fell over her shoulders like silver rivers, brushing against his arm. She looked into his eyes, curious, almost playful. "You are different," she said. "Your heart beats louder than any I've heard, strong, warm." Her fingers hovered near his chest, never quite touching. He pulled back, every muscle tense, but her smile didn't fade. The older sister moved with the grace of a predator. She circled the bed slowly, her eyes glowing like molten gold in the half-light. She bent close to his ear and whispered, "Do not fight it. You are ours now." Ours. The word chilled him. The soldier clenched his fists, his mind racing. He had fought alien beasts, survived war zones, seen death up close. But this was different. This was something he couldn't shoot, couldn't outrun. He looked at his bride again. "Tell me this is not real," he whispered. Finally she spoke. Her voice was soft, trembling. "It is real. It is the way of my people. When a man marries, he belongs not just to one, but to all her blood." "All her blood?" he repeated. His voice low. The bride nodded, her golden eyes wet with something. Fear, guilt, or both. The soldier's stomach turned. This wasn't just marriage, it was entrapment. A trap hidden in silken sheets and glowing eyes. The younger sister leaned closer, tilting her head as if studying him. "He doesn't understand," she said, her tone almost mocking. The older sister's smile sharpened. "Then we will make him understand." Before he could react, the candles flickered, and for a heartbeat, the room was darker. In that shadow, more movement stirred. Another figure from the far corner of the room, where the crystal walls bent like a mirror. A third shadow detached itself. Another sister, taller, silent. She stepped into the light with calm steps, her long hair flowing like black fire, her silver skin glistening. She said nothing, but her eyes burned like two suns. The soldier's breath caught. 3 of them now. 3 glowing sets of eyes fixed on him, surrounding the bed like wolves around prey. He reached instinctively for his belt, for a weapon that wasn't there. The wedding rituals had stripped him of armor, of gun, of knife. He had nothing. The bride saw his fear and whispered quickly, "Do not resist them. If you resist, they will take it by force. If you yield, you may live." The word struck him like a blade. "Yield or die." The older sister laughed softly, hearing the words. "Yes, little bride. You speak true. He must choose." The younger one crawled even closer, her face inches from his. "And he must choose soon." The silent sister finally spoke, her voice deep and cold. "By dawn, the human will belong to us or to the soil beneath this house." The soldier's chest tightened. Every instinct screamed to run, to fight, to escape. But he looked at his bride, and she looked back, her golden eyes pleading. She didn't want this any more than he did. The sisters drew closer, their whispers weaving around him, soft, dangerous, unescapable. He could feel their warmth, their beauty pressing in, but underneath it all, he sensed the threat, the razor hidden in silk. The candles flickered again, shadows crawling across the walls. The room seemed to shrink around him, the crystal walls glowing like a cage. 3 sisters, 1 bride, 1 man, and no way out. The night stretched on like a trap. The soldier sat stiff on the edge of the wide bed, 3 pairs of glowing eyes watching him from the dark. His alien bride sat at his side, her head lowered, silent as stone. He wanted to shout, to demand answers, but his voice felt trapped in his throat. The youngest sister giggled softly, brushing her silver hair away from her face. The sound echoed in the crystal walls, too sweet for such a dangerous moment. Finally he spoke, his voice sharp. "What is this? What do you want from me?" The eldest sister stepped forward, her tall figure casting a long shadow across the bed. She looked calm, but her golden eyes burned like fire. "It is not about what we want. It is about what is demanded." "Demanded by who?" the soldier asked. "By our blood," the eldest replied. He frowned, confused. "Your blood?" His bride lifted her gaze then, her voice trembling. "Yes, our bloodline. On my world, when one marries, he does not marry one woman. He marries her sisters too." The words hit him harder than any battlefield explosion. His heart pounded in his chest. "That's insane," he muttered. The younger sister leaned closer, her smile playful. "Insane to you, sacred to us. You are human. You do not understand." The middle sister circled behind him, her steps slow and deliberate. She whispered into his ear, her breath cold. "Our kind believes the bond is not with one, but with all. 1 husband, many sisters, 1 bed, 1 fate." He jerked away from her, anger flashing across his face. "No, I married her," he pointed at his bride. "Not all of you." The eldest tilted her head, almost pitying him. "And yet, human, you are wrong. You are bound to us. Refuse, and you dishonor her blood. Refuse, and you do not live to see dawn." The soldier's fists clenched. He had fought in deserts and jungles, had looked death in the eyes, but this was different. This wasn't a war of guns and blades. This was a ritual, a law older than his species. He turned to his bride. "You knew. Why didn't you tell me?" Tears shimmered in her golden eyes. "If I told you before, you would have left. And I could not lose you." Her words stabbed deeper than the sister's threats. He wanted to be angry, but all he saw was her fear of losing him, fear of her sisters, fear of a custom too heavy to escape. The youngest sister laughed again, sliding onto the bed, her silver hair spilling across the sheets. "Do not fear us, human. Some of us wish to know you gently. The middle sister smirked, her eyes sharp. "And some of us wish to test your strength." The eldest stood tall, her voice firm. "It is tradition, it is law. By morning, you will belong to us all." The soldier felt the room tighten around him. The candles flickered, the walls glowed faintly, and every second stretched into eternity. His mind screamed at him to find a way out, but his heart twisted when he saw his bride's trembling hands. She whispered, almost too softly to hear, "Please, survive this. Please do not let them break you." The sisters exchanged glances, their eyes glowing brighter as if they shared one mind. Then the eldest raised her hand, and the other two froze, silent. She stepped closer, her voice carrying the weight of judgment. "The custom is not only of sharing, it is of testing. You are not yet accepted. Tonight, you will prove yourself. If you fail, your body will feed the soil. If you pass, you will be ours." The soldier's breath caught. "Test? What kind of test?" The eldest's golden eyes gleamed. "You will see." The younger one giggled again. The middle one smirked. The silent air filled with promises he didn't want. His bride clutched his arm tightly, her nails digging into his skin. "Don't resist them," she whispered. "Please, if you resist, they will kill you." But the soldier's blood boiled. He had not survived war, had not fought to live, just to become some ritual toy. He looked into the eldest sister's glowing eyes, and though his chest tightened with fear, his voice came steady. "I don't care what your custom is, I will fight it." For a moment, silence ruled the room. Then, slowly, the eldest sister smiled a smile sharp as a blade. "Good," she said. "Then the night begins." Asterisk. The soldier's breath grew heavy as the eldest sister's words echoed in the room. Then the night begins. The bed no longer felt like a place of rest. It felt like an arena. The blue candles burned lower, shadows crawling like claws along the crystal walls. His bride sat frozen, her golden eyes full of worry, while her sisters slowly closed in on him like hunters circling their prey. He clenched his fists. He had survived wars, traps, ambushes. But this was different. These weren't enemies he could shoot. These were women. Beautiful, dangerous women bound to him by a custom he didn't understand. The youngest sister moved first. She crawled closer, her silver hair spilling across the sheets. Her voice was soft, almost childlike. "Do not fight me," she whispered. "Let me see your strength." Her hand reached for his chest, fingertips hovering above his heart. His body tensed. Every instinct screamed danger, yet part of him, some weak, human part, was distracted by her beauty. He shoved the thought away, gritting his teeth. The middle sister leaned in from behind him, her breath warm against his ear. "He is trembling," she said with a sly smile. "But is it fear, or something else?" The soldier turned sharply, pulling away. "Stay back," he growled. The eldest tilted her head, her golden eyes glowing brighter. "You cannot resist forever. This test is not of flesh alone. It is of control, of loyalty, of survival." Her words chilled him. This was more than just a tradition. It was a trial meant to break him. He looked to his bride, desperate for guidance. "Tell them to stop," he said. But she lowered her gaze, shame written across her face. "I cannot. It is the law of my people. If you fail them, you fail me too." The soldier's chest tightened. He had fought for her, risked everything. For her, and now he was trapped in her world's cruel ritual. The youngest sister's laughter cut through his thoughts. She brushed her hair aside and leaned close, her glowing eyes wide with curiosity. "Why does your heart beat so fast? Do you fear us, or do you want us?" He shoved her back, his voice firm. "I don't belong to you. I belong to her." He pointed at his bride. The middle sister hissed softly, her smile fading into something darker. Bold words. "But can you keep them?" She lunged suddenly, grabbing his arm with strength far greater than her frame suggested. He struggled, pulling against her grip, but she held fast. Her golden eyes gleamed with challenge. The eldest stepped closer, calm and unshaken. This is the test, human. To resist desire, to endure pressure, to survive our will. Few men have passed. Fewer still have lived. The soldier's blood turned cold. So this wasn't just ritual, it was life or death. The youngest reached for him again, her touch feather-light, but filled with strange heat. "Give in," she whispered. "It will be easier." He clenched his jaw, shaking his head. "I won't." Her smile sharpened. "Then we will see how long you last." The middle sister yanked harder, forcing him closer. His muscles burned as he fought against her unnatural strength. The younger one laughed, pressing in from the other side. The soldier's heart pounded. And then the eldest moved. She raised her hand, and the others froze instantly. The room fell silent, the only sound his ragged breathing. She studied him with a predator's calm, her voice low and sharp. "You resist well," she said, "but you are not free yet. This is only the beginning." She stepped closer, her golden eyes locking on his. "If you truly belong to our blood, you will endure more than touch. You will endure fire." Fire. The word chilled him. His bride gasped softly, rising to her feet. "No, please, not that. He is not ready." The eldest ignored her. She lifted her hand, and the candles flared brighter, their flames stretching tall, throwing monstrous shadows across the walls. The soldier felt the heat rising, the air heavy with alien power. His skin prickled as if the flames were reaching for him. The youngest sister's playful smile vanished. The middle one's smirk turned serious. Even they seemed wary of what came next. The eldest's voice rang out like judgment. "By fire, his truth will be revealed. By fire, his fate will be sealed." The soldier's breath caught in his throat. He had walked into this night thinking it was love. But now it was survival, and the danger was just beginning. The circle of fire burned around the bed, its blue flames rising tall and silent. The soldier felt sweat bead across his forehead, though the heat was not of this world. It was not just flame, it was alive. The fire moved as if it listened, curling higher when the eldest sister raised her hand, shrinking lower when she let it fall. The bride stood just outside the circle, her golden eyes wet with fear. She wanted to help, but she could not step in. Her sisters had claimed the night, and she was powerless to stop them. The soldier clenched his fists. He was trapped inside the circle, three glowing-eyed sisters watching his every move. This wasn't marriage anymore. This was trial. The eldest spoke first, her voice echoing through the chamber like a judge passing sentence. "This is the testing. Every man must face it. If you are weak, the fire will consume you. If you are strong, the fire will obey you." The soldier swallowed hard. "And if I refuse?" The middle sister leaned in, her smirk cruel. "Then the fire takes you anyway. Only faster." The youngest giggled, silver hair falling across her face. "Don't be afraid, human. Many have burned before you." Her laughter twisted in his ears. The eldest raised her hand again, and the flames hissed, closing in tighter. Heat lit his skin, the air heavy, suffocating. His heart pounded in his chest. He wanted to move, to escape, but the circle of fire left no path. "Step forward," the eldest commanded. His legs resisted, but some force pulled at him, dragging him toward the center of the flames. He gritted his teeth, pushing against the pull, every muscle trembling. The sisters watched with glowing eyes, testing him with silence. When he stopped halfway, the flames flared higher, brushing against his arms. He winced, expecting pain, but instead of burning, the fire felt cold, biting into his flesh like ice. His breath caught. The youngest tilted her head, fascinated. "It likes him," she whispered. The middle frowned. "Or it wants to taste him first." The eldest's eyes narrowed. "Hold steady, human. Do not flinch." The fire coiled around. His arm, a serpent of blue flame, wrapping tighter, climbing toward his shoulder. His instincts screamed to rip it off, to fight it, but he forced himself still. Sweat dripped down his face as he stared into the fire. The bride's voice broke the silence. "Please, stop this. He is not one of us. He cannot endure." The eldest turned sharply, her golden gaze silencing her younger sister. "If he is not one of us, then he will die. That is the custom." The soldier's chest tightened. Every second felt like an eternity as the flame wrapped tighter, now coiling across his chest. He could feel it pressing into his heart, testing its beat. Why? He rasped through clenched teeth. Why this test? Why not let me prove myself in battle, in strength? The middle sister smirked. Because battle is simple. Fire reveals the soul. The youngest leaned closer, her voice soft. "And your soul, it shines." The eldest raised her hand and the flame suddenly surged, engulfing him fully in blue fire. The bride screamed. No, but inside the fire, the soldier did not burn. He stood still, his fists clenched, his teeth grinding. The heat roared in his ears, his vision blurred, but he endured. The sisters stared in shock. The middle one's smirk faded. The youngest's smile widened with delight. The eldest's eyes narrowed, unreadable. When the flames withdrew, he stood at the center of the circle, chest heaving, skin unburned. The eldest spoke slowly, her voice low. "Impossible. No man has endured so quickly." The middle sister hissed, stepping closer. Perhaps the fire was weak tonight. The youngest shook her head, her silver hair shimmering. "No, he is strong. He is chosen." The bride rushed forward, but the fire flared up again, blocking her path. She cried out, helpless. The eldest raised her hand once more, her golden eyes blazing. "The fire accepts him. But the testing is not over. He must face us." The soldier's heart sank. He had endured the flames, but now 3 sisters moved toward him in unison, their steps silent, their eyes glowing brighter than ever. The youngest whispered, "We will tempt him." The middle added, "We will break him." The eldest finished, her voice like stone, "And if he survives us, he will truly belong." The soldier's fists clenched. He could feel the weight of the trial pressing down harder than the fire itself. And as the 3 sisters stepped into the circle, closing in with a hunger that was more dangerous than any flame, he realized the night had only begun. The soldier stood in the circle of dying fire, chest rising and falling, his body trembling but unbroken. The blue flames had tested him, yet left him standing. That should have been enough. But it wasn't. The 3 sisters surrounded him now, their golden and silver eyes glowing brighter than the fire itself. The youngest's lips curved into a playful smile, the middle's gaze was sharp with hunger, and the eldest's expression was unreadable, like a judge waiting to pass her verdict. His bride pressed her palms against the crystal wall outside the circle, tears shining in her eyes. "Please let him go," she begged. "He endured the fire. He has proven himself." The eldest shook her head slowly, her long hair catching the light of the flames. "The fire measures the body, but we measure the soul." The soldier's jaw clenched. "And if I pass your test?" The middle sister smirked, circling him like a predator. "Then you belong to us." "And if I fail?" The eldest answered, her voice calm, final. "Then you will not leave this house alive." His fists tightened. He had faced death before, but never like this. The danger here was not claws or bullets. It was beauty wrapped in poison, desire sharpened into a blade. The youngest moved first. She stepped close, her silver hair brushing his shoulder, her voice soft like music. "You need not resist. All you must do is give yourself to us." Her hand lifted toward his cheek, but he pulled back sharply. "No," he said firmly. "I belong to her." He pointed at his bride. The middle sister hissed, eyes narrowing. Lies, men always say that. But when pressed, they break. She circled behind him, her fingers grazing his arm like a snake. You will break too. The eldest raised her hand, and the other two stopped. She looked deep into the soldier's eyes. This is the truth of our custom. A husband is not chosen for one, he is chosen for all. If you cannot love all, you are cursed. If you can endure us, you are chosen. The soldier's heart pounded. His mind screamed to reject them, but he saw the fear in his bride's eyes. She wanted him to survive, even if it meant sharing. The sisters stepped closer in unison, their glowing eyes fixed on him. The youngest whispered, "Do you fear us?" The middle taunted, "Or do you desire us?" The eldest's voice cut through. The air like steel. Choose, yield to us, or perish. The soldier felt the weight of the choice pressing against his chest. Yield, and he would live, but as theirs, not his own. Refuse, and he might not live at all. His bride cried out, her voice breaking, "Please, choose life." The soldier closed his eyes, steadying his breath. He had fought battles where every choice meant blood. But this choice was different. It was not only survival. It was his very soul at stake. The youngest reached for his hand, her touch warm and gentle. The middle leaned close, her breath hot against his neck. The eldest stood before him, calm but unrelenting. He snapped his eyes open and pulled away, his voice hard as stone. "No, I will not yield. If you want me, you will have to take me by force." The sisters froze. The bride gasped. The circle of fire hissed low, as if holding its breath. Then the middle sister laughed, sharp and cruel. Bold, very bold. The youngest smile faded into something darker. "Then you will die." The eldest did not laugh. She studied him. With piercing eyes, her face unreadable. Slowly she raised her hand, and the circle of fire roared back to life. The bride screamed, pounding against the crystal wall. "Stop, please stop." But the eldest's golden eyes never left the soldiers. "So be it. If you will not yield, you will be tested by blood. One last trial, chosen or cursed." The fire rose high, forming walls around him. The sisters stepped into the flames without burning, their glowing eyes shining through the fire. The soldier's breath caught. He had endured the fire once, but now he was trapped with them inside it. And as they closed in, the truth struck him with chilling clarity. This was no marriage, no union. This was a war disguised as love. The circle of fire roared like a living beast, trapping the soldier inside with three glowing-eyed sisters. His chest heaved, his fists clenched, but his spirit had not broken. He had resisted desire, endured the fire, and rejected their whispered temptations. Yet the trial was not over. The eldest sister stood before him, her golden eyes blazing like suns. "This is the final embrace," she said, her voice heavy as judgment. "If you accept us all, you are chosen. If you reject us, you are cursed." The youngest tilted her head, silver hair cascading like moonlight. "We do not want your death, human," she whispered sweetly. "We want your bond. Share yourself, and you will live." The middle sister circled him slowly, her gaze sharp, her voice low. "But if you resist one last time, the fire will drink your soul." The bride pressed her palms against the crystal wall, tears streaming down her face. "Please," she begged. "Survive this, whatever you must do, survive." The soldier's jaw tightened. He had fought enemies with claws, with blades, with guns, but never enemies that looked like this. They were beautiful, terrifying, and relentless. His heart ached for his bride, the one he had chosen. But the sisters, they were not love. They were law. The eldest raised her hand, and the fire closed tighter, curling into a narrow ring around them. "Step forward," she commanded. His legs shook as he moved. Each step felt like walking into a trap, but he forced himself onward until He stood before the three sisters. They waited, silent, their eyes glowing like stars. The youngest lifted her hand and touched his chest. Her fingers were warm, almost tender. "Your heart is strong," she whispered. "It could belong to me." The middle pressed closer from behind, her breath hot against his ear. "Your strength is fire. I could burn with you." The eldest leaned in, her golden gaze piercing his very soul. "But your spirit, it belongs to us all." The soldier's breath came heavy. His mind screamed to push them away, but his bride's desperate voice echoed in his head. "Survive this, please." His heart twisted. To live, he had to yield. But to yield, he had to betray himself. The youngest pressed closer, her silver hair brushing his cheek. "Choose us," she whispered. The middle gripped his arm tightly. "Or the fire will take you." The eldest spread her arms, the fire rising with her. "Embrace us, or be cursed." The soldier's fists trembled. He thought of the wars he had fought, the men he had lost, the blood he had shed. He thought of the night he first met his bride, her golden eyes full of hope, her voice soft with trust. He had chosen her, not them. And in that moment, clarity struck him. He would not give himself to the sisters. He would not surrender to their law. He would stand, even if it meant death. He pulled free of their grip, stepping back, his voice steady and fierce. "I will not embrace you. I chose her, only her. And if that curses me, then curse me." The fire roared high, the sisters' eyes blazing with shock and fury. The youngest hissed. "Fool," the middle snarled. "You choose death." But the eldest froze. Her eyes narrowed, her face unreadable. Slowly she lowered her hand, and the fire shrank into glowing embers. Silence filled the chamber. The soldier stood trembling, waiting for death. But none came. The eldest finally spoke, her voice low, almost reverent. "He resists. Even when faced with death, his loyalty is unbroken, his spirit unyielding. He is chosen." The youngest gasped, her eyes wide. The middle scowled, but said nothing. The bride collapsed to her knees, tears streaming down her face, relief flooding her heart. The soldier blinked, stunned. "Chosen? But I refused you." The eldest nodded slowly. "Yes, and that is why the fire accepted you, not for yielding, but for standing firm. That is the mark of a true bond." The circle of embers faded, vanishing into the stone. The sisters stepped back, their eyes dimming. For the first time, they did not look like predators. They looked almost respectful. The bride rushed forward, throwing her arms around him. "You lived," she whispered, trembling. "You survived." He held her close, his chest still burning from the fire's touch. "I didn't survive for me," he said softly. "I survived for you." The sisters watched in silence. The eldest finally turned, her golden eyes softer than before. "He is yours. He is one of us now. Guard him well." And with that, the three faded back into the shadows, leaving the soldier and his bride alone at last. The fire was gone. The trial was over. But as the soldier held his bride, one thought haunted him. If this was only the wedding night, what trials would the future bring?